Hey everyone, welcome to another session of Conversations with Courageous Cancer Warriors. And today's guest is going to be talking about something that is my favorite, matcha green tea. Like, who doesn't love it? So would you please welcome Miss Jen Lucas, the founder of Yang Yin Health. Hi, Jen. How are you?
I'm great, Lori. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Now, I'm so excited about this conversation. So tell us a little bit how you got started.
It's a long story, so if I get winded, please stop me. So I was living in Southern California at the time, about 10 years ago, give or take. And I was going through some really challenging times. I was a new mom, newish, two toddlers that were only 17 months apart. So, like most new moms, I just felt like I was losing myself. I found like I just wasn't excited about much, where normal me gets excited about the littlest things. I was in an unfulfilling career. I was trying to navigate solo motherhood to boot. And then my family and support system were thousands of miles away. So it was just like a big whirlwind of bad stuff going on. So, of course, I know that I had to deal with that, and I'm normally would have pushed it to the side, but, I was just understanding that that's not healthy and I needed to deal with this, but also to make some really positive, healthy changes that way to hopefully like offset the negatives. I was never really a coffee drinker, but because my kids were so close in age and both very small, I started drinking coffee just like out of necessity. Yeah. So I really wanted to just stop drinking coffee because I'm very sensitive to the caffeine, and I didn't like the way it made me feel. I hate the jitters and the crash, and it just did weird things in my stomach. It didn't sit well with me. So I wanted to stop doing that. I started doing yoga. And then I also started removing chemicals from my routine, from my skincare to toothpaste, cleaning products, etc. And I'd always been a tea drinker. Even while I was drinking coffee, I still was drinking tea. And a friend of mine introduced me to matcha. They had been traveling around Asia for many years and introduced me to it, and just the rest was history. In normal Jen fashion, I started like researching about it and understanding how pure of a tea it is. It's literally a green tea plant pulverized into a powder. Once you ingest it, it goes complete to your bloodstream. That's just the leaf in your bloodstream, and that's it, nothing else. And I also kind of started implementing a daily tea ceremony, I like to call it. It sounds really fancy, but basically all it is my routine of making tea. I do it around the same time every day. Of course, I'm human and that's not always possible, but like around 10:30, because again, I still have a sensitivity. I have an empty stomach, I feel a little crazy even with tea, because it is so powerful. So, around 10:30, after I get in a quick little workout and then checking my emails and kind of planning for the day, my tea break is me just making my tea, trying to push everything else out for that quick 10 minutes, just really paying attention as I make it. As I sip it and drink it, I try not to, read emails. I might read an article or do a little bit of like journaling. And just those small things really did wonders. I mean, I felt, a sustained energy through past dinner time. I was energized yet calm, which is a really interesting byproduct of matcha. Reduces stress, of course, and just a lot of amazing things that this small gesture did for my life. So I just really knew that I needed to share that with the world. And I also have always known that I needed to have my own business, but, I just didn't really know what that was or when that magical idea was going to come to me. As with most things, it just happens when it's meant to. So around 2018, yet another challenge came my way. I was laid off from a tech company once again. And it was just time. I was done. It was the final straw. So I was set on taking that severance check, doing something I believed in that allowed me to share these, minor changes in life that do big healing to anybody, and just being able to share that with others. And, of course, in hindsight, that horrifying losing forced career change, it was my way out and back to myself. So I kind of had this cloudy vision of where I needed to start with this magical plant. And then quickly after, doing my due diligence, I realized that a lot of others like yourself were just really starting to catch on to the benefits. I mean, it's been consumed in other parts of the world for centuries, but us, in the West are just kind of in the past few years really catching on to all of its benefits. So I knew that was my path. Again, always been a tea drinker. It's something I'm passionate about, does wonders for people. And also with my previous work experience in marketing and project management, product development, and of course my entrepreneurial spirit, I knew that this was a good place to start. And then from that, Yang Yin Health was born.
Yeah. So, what I love initially is that you said that you were completely overwhelmed, right? So I'd love to start there. And the fact that you are intentional, right? So as a coach, I'm like, okay, so you've developed a practice where you are being intentional. It's kind of like part of your action plan for the day. Like you set an intention of, I'm going to make tea every day. I'm going to be really intentional about it. And you use it as a way to, in a way, meditation, right? Because you remove all of your distractions and it's like, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to be with myself and my thoughts, limited distractions, and take the time out. So it's like, it's your version of self-care even before the benefits of the tea come in, right? So I love that you've set that up, because that's, we talk a lot about self-care in this program, and it's really difficult for people to just block out the noise, right? So, and that's why yoga is so effective. That's how I look at yoga outside of even the movements. It's a period of time in which you're meditating, right? It's like you're being with your thoughts and you're allowing yourself to just flow. Now, I would love to hear more, because you said that you just started off on a whim and then you developed this company from it. So what are some of the products? Because I did notice, when I was doing a little bit of research, that you have skincare products available outside of just consuming it. So talk to me a little bit about how that got started.
So again, as I was, I had found my matcha product, I found a supplier, just started selling it online. And as I was just seeing, the market and the competition and things like that, something clicked in me. There's always that first step that just gets the snowball rolling. I'm like, there's so many amazing benefits to this powder. Literally, it's a powder, antioxidants, all of these amazing things that I want to do more things with it, come up with some creative, innovative ways to use it in other areas of life. So I developed an all natural face cream, and it's using matcha powder. Again, because there's so many antioxidants in the powder, it's extremely good for your face. You may have seen people out there making face masks with it. Because it's so powerful, you only need a few ingredients, which to me is huge, because what goes on your skin eventually goes into your body. Same with your mouth, obviously, but it's really important to have the minimal amounts of ingredients and things that you can pronounce. So, in one of my past roles with an agency that I was doing some freelance work for, we worked with this company out in Colorado, and they only do all natural products. And so I kept her number close by, and called her up one day and said, I have this idea. I want to, make a custom formulation, because that's something that they do. They have, other products that you could private label, but I wanted to do a custom formulation. Kind of worked closely with her. I let her know, I wanted it to have matcha in it, of course. And some of the properties that I wanted to have. Matcha itself is anti-aging, but she threw in some hyaluronic acid, which you may or may not know is a huge anti-aging technology. There's another, it's called Malus domestica fruit stem cell extract, which is literally stem cells extracted from these like rare apples in Switzerland and throughout Europe, that really help prevent your cells from degenerating, and also help revitalize your existing cells. So it's a really cool thing, newer anti-aging technology. So we came up with this formulation. Literally, I went and got samples from her. Not to get too deep in the weeds, but we were kind of going back and forth on the scent, like the oils to use. And I had an idea of using citrus, because citrus does pair really well with matcha. And she had another idea. So she made 2 samples, went, got them, tried them both. And of course she was spot on. She's the professional, but we went with a rose geranium scent. So it has a really nice, like fresh, but not overly powerful, because it's not artificial fragrance. It's natural oils in there. And that was it. I mean, she got it first try. So that was my matcha face love. That's my face cream that I formulated. And I've been using it for, I guess it was about 2.5 years ago. We finalized that formulation, and I will never use anything else. Even if this goes under, like, I'll still just keep having her make it for me, because it's really that wonderful. And I've seen not just benefits for me, but others that use it also have seen great benefits, and that's what it's all about, of course.
I love that. And you also have a book that just came out called Matcha Reimagined. So I would love to find out, like, if in the book you talk about things to look for when you're choosing a matcha tea, and and more about, like you said, because I'll be, honest, like, one of the things that when you go and you look up matcha tea, there's so many variants, there's so many manufacturers, and you try to find the most pure that you can, but what is something that someone should look out for?
So in my experience, there are a lot of different variations. When I was trying to find a supplier, my goodness, if you could see the the amount of samples I had, all these different levels and grades and colors, and it was overwhelming, quite honestly. But there are 3 main grades. There's a culinary grade, which is the lowest grade, which basically means, when they process it, they're not as careful. Whereas a higher grade, they actually take out the stems and the veins of the leaf. Not that there's anything wrong with them. It's just, it's a more delicate process, and, it's the higher quality, and that's just part of how they process it. So the culinary grade is just, if you want to make matcha cookies or matcha cake, and don't quote me on this, but my belief is that when you do cook it in the oven, that, the heat zaps out some of the nutrients. It's more for the flavor and the color and the novelty than, if you're making a cake, it's not the healthiest anyways, but the flavor is really great when you use it in baked goods or any other food, which my book it's actually a recipe book. So in Matcha Reimagined, we have sweet recipes, savory recipes, drinks, and some skincare. So again, I'm trying to fulfill that goal of mine to just really provide alternate uses for it, for people who might not be ready to drink it as a tea or things like that. But back to the different like grades and levels. I think that some of the higher grades, which are, and I'll just use price range wise, because there's different classifications depending on where the supplier is. But I think that anything in the 35 plus range for an ounce container is really for serious matcha enthusiasts, because sometimes it can be kind of bitter. I like that strong taste, but even sometimes it's too bitter, even for me. So I think that price is a good way to gauge it, and anything from the 25 to 35 range is like a really good option. And that's what I decided to go with, is to go in that range because it has a slightly sweet flavor. And I have to say, when I'm doing events and provide samples to people, and I've met so many people that have never tried it and who are like strong coffee drinkers, and I always bring, honey or something to offer as a sweetener, just in case, they're hesitant or whatnot. And most people are very brave, and it's great to see. They just say, no, I'll try it. And I haven't had one person like scoff at it. Like, they are very pleased with the taste. And of course that comes with making it properly. But once you get the hang of it, it's just a very easy process, and something to enjoy every day. You could do so many different things. And again, that's what, my recipe book aims to do. That's what I aim to do with providing different recipes and things on my website and social media, making iced tea drinks in the summer, of course, my favorite thing to do. And you only need a few minor ingredients, just things you have around the house if doing stuff like that. And it's just a great way to throw some extra antioxidants into your system.
I love that. And so what I love about it is that there's different options. And you said in the beginning that you had a hard time with coffee and how it have impacted you physically. I find that sometimes too, green tea itself does that for me. And matcha is the only one that doesn't do that, right? I actually get an upset stomach from green tea. I have to stay away from it. And so I was hesitant at first about going and having matcha tea. And I went for that $25 range that I was able to find. And I was pleasantly surprised that it didn't affect me like other green teas do. So, that speaks, like, as you're saying, to the quality of it. And I had the experience of going through a tea ceremony once before. And I know, like, an authentic tea ceremony was absolutely amazing. And I remember that bitter taste. And so for me, when you said that, it literally brought me back. So for those listening, if you have an opportunity to go to a center near you that provides like traditional tea ceremonies, it's truly an amazing experience that will have you really appreciate the culture that goes behind this product. And the what's the word I'm looking for,
it's a big community feel, right? So everybody's sharing in that energy and feeling good, and that's one of one of the major draws that I had too.
And it's like a respect that they have for it. Like it's a lifestyle. It's part of their beliefs. It's really it's almost like a religious experience in its own self. To be able to be there and to experience that is really amazing. Now, I love the fact that you have, recipes and, skincare products and all that. What is your personal favorite? How do you personally love to consume matcha?
I just drink straight tea.
Hot tea?
Hot tea. Yes.
Hot tea.
Yes. I put ginger powder in it just because I love ginger powder, and the spiciness really complements well.
That's a great idea.
I put it in a lot of stuff, but so I have my little tea station in my kitchen, and I always have ginger powder. but that's how I drink it every day. In the summer, I do make like an iced green tea, put some lemon juice in it. But other than that, I drink it straight. I just, and again, it's just like the whole process of it. And I'm jealous that you've been to a tea ceremony, because that's high on the list. Obviously, I was hoping to go overseas last year, but we understand how that didn't happen. But yeah, it's just the whole, just making it, watching it, seeing like the green color. It's just such a great experience. And again, those small little moments can really help, start your day or midday when you're, you don't want to grab another cup of coffee. You can, make some tea and just, give yourself that added boost.
Definitely. And especially now with the way that things are going, a lot of us are working from home. We don't have that escape. So you feel like you always need to be productive. Yes. So having, setting up that routine of, at 12 o'clock, high noon, like I'm going to make my tea or whatever time works for you, 3 o'clock, whatever it is, knowing that you're going to take at least that 10 minutes out to do something for you that's going to be rejuvenating and, a real huge health benefit, because we know the benefits of green tea, especially matcha. So I really love that you're up to educating people and that you have products available. So how can people find you?
So my products are available on my website, yangyinhealth.com. I'm on Instagram, same, Yang Yin Health, and Facebook as well.
That's great. So I'll make sure to provide all the links. Now, is your book also available on your website?
It is, yes.
Okay, so everything is there. That's absolutely amazing. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story with us and all the benefits of it. And, we'd love to be able to support you. So I'll make sure to provide the links. And for those of you listening, I know Ms. Jen would be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. So please feel free to either reach out to myself or to Jen directly. We'll make sure that we have that information for you in order to do so. And we'll make sure that you get your questions answered. And also, we'd love to hear from you as to whether or not you are an avid matcha tea, green tea drinker. Sorry, I totally screwed that up. But if you have an amazing habit, if you have something that you do every day that's a ritual for you, we'd love to hear about that and what your experiences are. So please, like I said, reach out, comment on this post, and we'd love to hear from you. So Jen, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today and your expertise. And I'm really looking forward to getting a hand on your book and making some of your amazing creations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It was fun.